I'm 7 days out from permanently relocating to Vegas, along of course with my family. In 1 week's time, we're going to be, for all intents and purposes, American residents. That is a scary thing, and I'm not 100% convinced that it's the definite best thing to do, but I thought I'd share some of the opinions and insights of why a lot of Canadians like myself are moving down to America. And this video is not political. It's not about this party, this person, whatever. I think there's some interesting insights in here though, and hopefully it answers a lot of your guys' questions as to why we're making the move. The first one, super simple: weather. Canadian winters are something that we don't do any winter sports. It's not something that we enjoy. We just don't go outside for 4 or 5 months a year. It's dark for such a chunk of that time. We don't really get much fresh air. And we both find it, in terms of Ash and I, we both find it really depressing. And that's number one. Number two, we're able to have a consistent routine in a constantly warm environment. We can go for a walk with our daughters every morning. We could spend that quality time outside. We could go for a swim every evening, and we can just build that. We have such a great summer routine here, and we have it for 3 months, and then it's all interrupted and we have to go into winter mode, which we don't really love. And you know, hopefully it's a happier place, and that consistency provides us a little bit more comfort long term. In Vegas, we're gonna have 1 more hour of daylight in the winter. Of course, it's gonna be warm and great weather, but that 1 hour makes a big difference. When it gets dark at 4:30 versus 5:30, personally, I'm gonna find that much, much nicer. The other thing about Vegas is, yes, super hot in the winter, but we're moving to the Northwest Vegas, so we're 30 minutes or less away from a place called Mount Charleston, which year-round has comfortable temperatures and has a ski hill in the winter if we want to expose our daughters to the winter. Number two is work. This is super obvious. Everyone seems to be really impressed when I tell them that I live, you know, in the outskirts of Toronto, and I've done what I've done on social media, and collabs are really hard. There's a handful of people in the fitness industry close, but compared to Vegas and LA, it absolutely pales in comparison. The American brand deals for stuff in Strongman and social media are a multiple of what they are here in terms of value and in terms of quantity. So it just makes a lot of sense. And for me, this is gonna allow me to have 1 day out to LA, shoot a brand thing, come back and be home at night, rather than it being a multi-day adventure that I try to make the most of. So for a lot of reasons, work is much simpler. Ashley being a vet, she can get whatever job she wants anywhere. It's like the most in-need profession of all time. She went for 6 job interviews in Vegas and got 6 on-the-spot job offers, which she's a great communicator. She would interview super well. But I can't think of another job on the planet where they would just like 6 in a row. Yes, 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 yes. That's a big fortunate part. There's one thing about Canada that I am eternally grateful for, and that is Mutant supplements. Out of Vancouver, you go into the warehouse, you see every raw ingredient put into the tubs themselves, then sent off for third-party testing. I have the full line, from the low stim pre-workout mindfuck to medium stim madness to the highest stim all in. Beware, in America, 500 milligrams of caffeine in a serving. That is off the charts. Be careful with that. But from creatine to protein to their pre-workouts and everything in between, these are the only products that I use. The video is brought by Mutants, and if you're here as a Strongman fan, they are involved with OSG. They sponsor the Deadlift World Champs. They're sponsoring Static Monsters. They are heavily involved in Strongman. So if you want to support myself, the sport, and Strongman in general, go ahead, check out your Mutant supplements. We'll pop the link down in the YouTube description. Thank you, Mutant, for your support as always. And let's get back to the video. Number three is affordability. This might be a hard one for Americans to believe because the middle class in America is suffering, as well as in Canada, but I'm gonna hit you guys with some numbers that could be a bit shocking. In Canada, if you make more than $187,000 US, you're taxed at 53%, compared to 37% if you make over $640,000 in America. It's more than triple to achieve the highest tax bracket, and even then, you're still 16% lower. For every $100, you get to retain 16 more to do what you'd like with your family. Now, if we take after-tax and mortgage interest deductions, which we can't do mortgage interest deductions in Canada, the average home costs 12.5x average income in Toronto, where that number is 6.5x average income in Vegas. This isn't for us. I'm very fortunate to be able to afford a home here and buy a home in Vegas. I'm forward-thinking for our daughters. I don't really see the affordability crisis getting any better. Long-term, it just doesn't make sense that it would get better, and so if it becomes even less affordable here, I don't know a single job that I could tell my daughters to get where they're gonna be able to go buy a house. And to me, it's like, if I don't make the move for them, then I can't really justify any sort of outcome other than I buy a house for them when they're old enough. And that's fine, but it also takes away that sense of personal pride of buying your first home. And I think that's an important thing to have. So in Vegas, you can can have a normal job for an educated person and have the prospect of buying a house. Interesting point, my wife will make the same income part-time as she does full-time in Toronto. Now, all these numbers are not including the cost of winter for the roof replacements, the car wear and tear, the sets of tires, etc., etc. The long story short is that people suffer in America more than they do in Canada if you're in the bottom income bracket. But if you are educated, you have higher level jobs, it's a much more livable place. Even if you have a middle income job, the statistics say you're much better in America than you are in Canada. Now, there are some exceptions. I'll get to those in a moment. One interesting thing for me is schooling. This is massive. So in Canada, we don't have a well-established private school system. So you're basically going into the public system. And I think that's great to be exposed to a whole bunch of different kids from different backgrounds and learn lots about them. But the scary thing is you are also exposed to whatever the teachers want to teach you. Now, I'm not really nefarious about it. I don't think that the teachers want to do bad things. But let's say something is being taught in your school that you don't particularly want your child to learn, whether it's sex ed too early or it's whatever. In Canada, you don't really have the option. And transferring out of your area is something that's very difficult and often not possible. And in my current community, there are 0 private schools. So we don't have the option. In my new community in Vegas, there are 11 private high schools. That flexibility is going to give us what we want for our kids. Of course, coming at a cost, where in Canada, it's totally free. If we talk healthcare, this is the #1 thing that Americans believe that is incredible in Canada. But with the public system and an extremely rare private system, if I tore a bicep in Canada, it would be about 3 weeks on an expedited pathway to be able to get that repaired. And this is outside the window of best practice. So it puts my career in jeopardy, something that simple. In America, it's gonna cost 10K, but it's gonna get done. And it's gonna get done fast and done high quality, as it would in Canada. By the way, healthcare quality, when you're in with them, is fine. But for $10,000 to continue my career, to me, that makes a lot of sense. In my home city, wait time for the hospital is 3 to 8+ hours. That's what it's listed as, and the wait time in my new community is 15 to 19 minutes. This could make a substantial difference if something was to go wrong. This comes at a significant cost. It's estimated that we're gonna have to pay $40,000 a year for high quality medical insurance. But you balance out the taxes with the education, with the healthcare, depending on how much you make, could come out as a wash or could be impossible. And this is where a lot of Americans suffer. The safety net for a family of 4 in Canada, it's $1,500 a month approximately. In Vegas, it's $450 a month. And this gets to the downside. I think, it's basic universal income is something that's fantastic. When the basic universal income is being pulled to give to other people and we don't get the advantage of the services that we're paying for, it's very difficult. And I'll explain that next. Investments. Let's say you work hard, you get ahead in Canada, you buy an investment property. I've had multiple people in my investment properties just declare that they are done paying rent. It's taken me on average 6 months to get them out, where I have to maintain the property, I have to pay their bills for them, I have to pay the mortgage, everything. And there's not much that I can do other than wait for the system. And if there was one clerical error on one form, whole thing restarts, you're in for another 6 months where this person can just continue living in your house. And if, let's say, they don't pay their water bill, their hydro bill, I have to pay that for them, because if it's not paid and their hydro gets shut off, that quote unquote interferes with their enjoyment of the property, which I'm responsible for. So I must pay all of their bills. Little hack, if you're in Canada, just stop paying your rent. You can't really do much about it. In Vegas, in Nevada specifically, that's about 5 weeks on average, which is reported, and that's a much more sustainable thing. Estates. This is well down the track, but in America, you got $30 million exemption from capital gains when you pass away. In Canada, all capital gains are fully taxed at about 30%. Over time, of course, what I pass on to my daughters means a lot to me, and I don't really want to give that to the government for no reason other than I passed away. Now, in short, America gives the ability to thrive for working people who are middle and upper class. And I understand that the middle class suffers in America, and there are massive issues with every country, but it gives you the opportunity to buy a house, and that's still on the cards, where for a lot of Canadians it just isn't anymore, and it's a sad thing, and it's very difficult to see the way back. Canada provides people to really have a social safety net. If things go really wrong, you're still going to be able to exist, and that's okay, but it accidentally incentivizes it. The rate of abuse in those programs is massive, and of course you see that anywhere where you have these social assistance programs. And that's the long and short of it. It's just a better option for us. And I think there are so many people where Canada is a better country to live, but it's just not our situation. I do want to talk though about what we're going to miss a lot about Canada. #1 is family and friends. We're moving away from the vast majority. A couple are coming down with us, which is fantastic. When we move to Australia and we move back, we don't think about the beaches in Australia. We don't think about the landscape, the rainforest, the Great Barrier Reef, the Opera House, that we haven't spoke literally once about that ever. We've talked about the people that we miss, and that's going to be really difficult. Number 2 is our home. This is where we brought both of our daughters. It's where we have a lot of great memories. It's where we have people over and we celebrate, and first birthdays and 30th birthdays and a whole 9 yards. It's tough to leave, and it's really sad to have this as our first family home that we had the intention of it being the forever home, and relatively soon after buying it, we're leaving. Now for the interim, we're gonna have it, we're gonna keep it to come back to, but it's not the same. We're not gonna live here, and it's not the place our daughters are gonna call home, and changing that expectation is really sad. I'm gonna miss our community for sure. Just 50 meters down the road, they do a winter celebration with like a little custom made tubing hill. We do Halloween, and there's a witch walk, and there's a Santa on a fire truck, and we're gonna have to find all those new routines again, which kind of sucks. We have a really good community here, and leaving it is certainly not easy. I'm gonna miss all the energy around the Blue Jays, Raptors, and Maple Leafs. I don't think that's gonna be replicated in Vegas. They've got their sports teams, but there's just something about Toronto teams doing well when you're in Toronto that just everyone goes insane. I've never seen anything like it, and it's gonna suck. When the Raptors won the championship a few years back, I was in Australia, and I'd watched the videos of how excited people got. It's like, fuck, what I would give to be there. That'd be so fun. Of course, easier to come back now, but just the general energy. And lastly, just our favorite coffee shop, all our favorite restaurants, they're all here. This is where we built our life. This is where we have our routines, and all of that is being thrown out the window, and it's really not easy. And that's that. Now, for everyone asking, I'll still represent Canada. I'll still cheer for Canada in the Olympics. Toronto sports jerseys are coming with me. I'm not going to become a Golden Knights fan or anything. I'll keep the masochism of cheering for the Leafs and the Blue Jays and the Raptors. But for us, this is a new beginning. Hopefully that answers your guys' questions. Wish us luck on the move. We're 7 days out. We've got a moving sale online. All of the stuff that I've got for equipment that's either it's a sponsorship that didn't work out, or it's just extra new stuff. If you're a big dude, tons of stuff, really cheap down. We'll put the link in the YouTube description. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next video in Vegas. As always, lift heavy and be kind.
How do you feel about the Hoopers moving?
I think it's going to be a good step in life. You know, changes are good, and new experiences and a new journey in life. So really excited.
I'm very happy for Mitchell. He accomplished a lot, and the next best thing for him is to go to the States and accomplish more.
If you could move down to the States, would you?
Yeah, I think they have a great geographical spot in life. They have a lot of places you can visit, and just great weather that sometimes you go down and you just want to stay there. So I definitely think I would.
If I'm gonna live next to Mitchell, yeah, 100%.
What do you think about the Hoopers leaving?
It's bittersweet. I've had the opportunity to know them since 2022, I believe. And I was actually the first person to take on Mitch's YouTube channel and grow it. So I got to know Mitchell pretty personally over the 2 years that I worked on his YouTube channel, and shared a lot of really great memories and everything, and I'm really glad to call him a friend, and same with Ashley, and it's been amazing watching them kind of grow and everything, and it's definitely bittersweet, but I'm happy for them. Whatever they're happy for, I'm happy for them.
And if you could move down to the States, would you?
Yes, I will be a snowbird in the foreseeable future, like really soon. Living there full time will be a lot harder to convince my wife, but definitely in the winters, because nobody likes the winter.
How do you feel about the Hoopers moving?
Oh, I'm very sad. You know, it's been so nice the last couple of years having them so close and just down the street, and just the comfort of having them here. But I'm sure other family members have said, like, you got to do what's right for you. And so I'm really proud of them. And I think it's really cool that over the years, Mitchell has kind of moved wherever spoke to him. And I really commend that.
If you could move down to the States, would you?
I would not do West Coast though. I'm like East Coast, New York City. So I'd do that, but for now, stay in putt.
I'm gonna miss using their pool.
Christian.
Anything else?
Yeah, talk about it. Come on.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird that they're not here, but
Yeah.
they're gonna be back pretty regularly. So I don't know if I don't know. We'll see how much we notice.
They're always on an adventure.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is just another adventure for them. Like we usually see them and meet them in other countries actually. So I think this is just like a run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, they're barely here anyways.
Yeah, so
So-
it'll be exciting to be able to like just have a new experience with them and somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
If you could move down to the States, would you?
Depends.
I like Canada.
We like it. Yeah.
I like being here. It'll be weird to like, I don't know, you think Canada, you think like Muskoka cottage country and dock and the lake and stuff like that. You think of like Canadian culture, it'll be hard to leave that behind, but they can take a piece of that with them over to the States.
They'll let us know, and
Yeah.
yeah,
for
sure.
Then maybe we'll go. We'll see.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Hoopers moving?
Well, of course I'm sad. It's been nice having them so close, but I understand the reasons why, and I get it. So yeah, I'm sad, but I'm happy for them and the new experiences that they'll have there. And for his family, I do think it's the right thing to do.
If you could move down to the States, would you?
With them,
Or just in general?
all things considered, yeah, I would love to be where my grandbabies are. I dealt with Mitchell being on Australia for 4 years and survived, and we just talk a lot on the phone. Would I move down? Yeah.
Awesome.